I am so glad to have Antoinette here with us today.
Hey, so happy to be
I
here.
just love that.
I
I was just like,
know.
you know what? I need to. I mean, it's something pop when you have black hair and when you wear something small, but that is just very, very pretty.
Thank you. It's I think $5 along the street somewhere down in our
Hey, if you know
building.
where to go get stuff, who cares how much you pay? As long
I'm
as
like, oh my goodness, this is so good. I've been actually walking past these earrings for a month now. Months. I'm like, I could never wear this. Like, where would I go? What am I gonna do with it? And what's my husband gonna say? But I'm like, I'm
with it.
doing an interview.
Yeah,
Now I have a reason.
right. And every now and then I would look for a reason just to break the monotony, just like, who cares, we're going to break it through by doing something different, something new, something exciting. And you
Yeah.
caught my eye right away as soon as I saw you. I was like, I love that earring.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I don't have the long hair to wear that. That's all you're going to see if I wear it with the short hair. But yeah, it caught my eyes right away. And I have
I
been,
mean, more than anything, do it for yourself. I've been back to this earring strain again. I loved wearing earrings forever and ever. Even before I started wearing makeup, like even before
yeah.
I started like loving wearing makeup. And then I don't know what happened. Oh, I know what happened. I had kids, and they would always tug on it.
I
And
know,
I've
yeah,
just
you get the ring, the hook or something. Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah.
And now nobody's clinging to my body anymore. Thank
Yeah.
goodness. Well, bittersweet. That was bittersweet, a
I
bittersweet statement.
know. I
Nobody's clinging
know.
on my body anymore. And I was like, oh my goodness, let me hop on back to
I think
earrings.
that's the reason we clicked on so fast because I think we have so many same interests in so many level. But anyway, I think we are going to start because it's a minute before the top of the hour. Hello, everyone. Hi, hi, hi. It's Thursday, and I am so glad that we have a full panel ready to talk. So, happy Thursday, like I said. We're gonna have Sarah dive right in to introduce who she is, and then we're gonna just go on really quick to our special guest today, Antoinette Placides. She is from Paris, so it's late, and we really appreciate that she stayed up late to be with us today. So go
Yeah,
ahead, Sarah.
yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. It's so good to be back again. Um, to save time, I'm just go very quick. Sarah M. I'm from Cambodia. I grew up very happy, and then I got into a big issues when my country go through a communist took over. When the Khmer Rouge communists came in and they basically destroyed our life and destroyed our country, and I struggled to survive. Thank goodness I'm alive, and that's all it matters. And I was able to escape and get out and finally arrive in United States. So I'm so grateful for this country and all the people that supported me when I first came and helped me build my new life. So I wrote my book, my story in the book. It's called How I Survived the Killing Fields, and it's available on my website, sarahim.com. I also go out in the community and speak to share a message to give people hope that if I can survive this ordeal, when almost 2 million people die, and I'm still standing and walking, that's hope. So, um, but my hope comes from a lot of kindness of people that help me as well. So um, that's all I want to say. Back to you, Lee.
Well, thank you, Sarah. I'm glad your voice is better and you sound better and look better
Yes.
as well. So my name is Lea Tran. I'm the other half of this show host. I have recruited Sarah to be on here with me since March 24th, when the lockdown began last year. And little we know that a year and almost 5 months later, we are still here. But now that that we are adding more people. But again, back to my story, I'm also a former refugee that escaped Vietnam communists in pretty much the same era, in the same time that Sarah did. While she was under the communists in Vietnam, also we were under the communists from 1975 to 1979. And then we escaped out the country and we landed in America in 1980. So there's many things that we have gone through the same journey. She escaped the jungle and my family and I escaped out the sea, and we therefore being called the boat people. And therefore 40 years later, it took me a lot of guts to flesh out my story, and it's called I Did Not Miss the Boat, because obviously I'm here. I didn't miss it, but mentally I felt like I there was some lack, and it took me 4 decades for me to realize that no, I didn't miss the boat, really. Mentally it's a very strong. So I am springing a lot more forward because I realize that opportunity is not something that come to us, but opportunity is what we create. And that's why I want to create a lot of opportunities, not just for me, but for my fellow women, friends, fellows that who had no voices for many years and felt stuck. And we were just tossing around and make fun of it because lots of people thought I looked like Filipina for some reason. So I felt a connection whenever I met people from Philippines. It felt like, you know, we come from, you know, the same sister from different mother. So when I met Antoinette, she was in my coaching program. Antoinette is also a coach. And she has been through a lot of her journey. I don't know how comfortable or how much she want to share. That's why we invite her here, so she can share her story, her compassionate for color women, and why she does what she does, because this woman is so good at what she does. And I just love her, and she's from Paris, you know. So it just a really great human being to connect with. And I'm so glad that she gave us the time. It's supposed to be 11 o'clock, but she stayed up. So welcome, Antoinette.
Thank you, Lee. Thanks, Sarah. I'm so honored and so happy to be here. I can share with you a little bit of my journey. It took you 4 decades. I'm in the midst of my journey. So I can share with you a little bit of how that is. Now, do you want to hear it now?
Sure, go ahead. The show is yours, baby.
Let me say hi to the listeners and to everyone who's watching. Help us with the algorithm. Hashtag replay if you're watching with us. My name is Antoinette.
Hashtag.
Hashtag replay. I am Coach Unapologetic. I help women of color. My work lies on helping the BIPOC community work on their limiting beliefs and finally be able to do what they're wanting to do. Currently, I'm working with business owners who are mostly coaches who are wanting to create their business, their website. I also am a host of my podcast, Aligned and Unapologetic, which just the same what Sarah and Lee are doing here, I'm bringing on guests to share their stories and their unapologetic stories and how they have stepped into that. In the hopes that to awaken other unapologetic stories in my listeners. I am a pure 100% Filipina, although there's no pure 100% Filipina anymore. I don't think so. I have a body of a Spanish, last name of a French, first name of a French too, but I'm 100% born and raised in the Philippines. 3 years ago, I moved here to France with everybody, with my entire family. I have 3 kids. and a husband, and I took my sister and her baby that time with me. My mom and my brother have been Swedish citizens for a long time, and we got no like other close family in the Philippines. And my mom had a lung cancer. She has passed. What month is it? About 40 something days ago.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was one of the reasons why we moved, because she was in Sweden when we were in the Philippines, and she would always every 3 months be back home, and she would always catch the cheapest flights, and that means flying for 3 days, 4 days, sleeping in China, like in Chinese airport, just so she can see us. And when we worked online, my husband and I worked online, my sister also started working online. I said, why don't we find a way to move to Europe somehow, and so that it's easier for her to cross, like it's just going to be an hour flight, or she could be with us like for 6 months. She has a long battle with cancer, so it's not something like that we were shocked with. But I have to say, to anyone who's watching, who's grieving, I do acknowledge and recognize that there's really no way to prepare for it. Like there's no, even
No.
though we knew it for
No.
almost a decade. We were, and I'm not trying to wash down the grief, but like, I'm grateful, like behind the deep grief that I'm feeling, I'm extremely grateful that I was given the chance to know that for 10 years. And every single year we try to, my mom and I are two different women. We love and we fight, like totally separate.
Like most of mother and daughter.
And so I can say that we have our relationship, like we have lived it to its fullest. Like I was able to tell her every single thing that I wanted to, and she did as well. So there's no like regret whatsoever right there. But and every year we make it to a point that we spend like, summer together, although it feels always like summer in the Philippines. And the very last moment when she was about to go, we were able to call her and gather all the kids. Like we had that split moment of chance for her to like open her eyes for split seconds, and I was able to give her peace and told her that we're okay. In Lee's metaphor, we have crossed the boat. We're here. We're together. My brother is in Sweden. My sister is, there's only 3 of us. My sister is here with me in a different city, and all of the kids are here. So I said, we're good. You can go. And she did, like right after. I know that Lee and I we were talking maybe sometime after my COVID or before my COVID. Oh my goodness, my life. Lee and I met around May, and then I had long COVID. I almost died. I actually did die for a split second, and then I woke up. I said, oh my goodness, I'm dying. And then I went to the hospital. I was there for about 10 days. I was one of those long COVID sufferers. I've had COVID for 30 days.
That was really scary.
It was.
Yeah.
And 20 days after, during my recovery, that's when I lost my mom. This is so crazy, right? And this is happening in my first 3 years here in France while we were trying to integrate in this new country and like the whole immigration process. There are a lot of reasons why we moved, but it's not like your stories. It's not like you were a refugee and like you're victims of war. It was a choice that I made for myself, and I will call that privilege. I'm a very privileged Filipino. The way that I'm able to access you guys to be here in this space with you is a privilege. To be able to speak the way that I do, to be able to express my mind the way that I do, or like have trainings and access to people the way that I do. And so I know that it's a privilege that I've chosen to immigrate here with my entire family. But behind that, And there's also, I know both, I'm so happy that both of you have a book, and I'm currently right now have a book in me, because it feels so lonely that I hear the stories, I hear Lee's stories, I hear Sarah's stories, and I hear other stories of people who immigrated, who are refugees, and I'm not. I chose this. So I feel like I don't deserve to feel sad or lonely.
Can I stop you right there? Please do not feel that way. And I love the title of your podcast, Unapologetic, because even when we came here, as much as you think that we are a victim, we had a choice. We either stay there and die, or we take that choice of move and die. You know, it's like there's a choice. So, I mean, you take that choice to get out of your comfortable zone, to experience a place completely new. I'm not sure you speak French, but I don't think French people speak English or Spanish or Tagalog. So it is a choice that we all make. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I just
No worries.
Don't feel like you don't deserve a book. I think every single one of us deserve to tell the story. And in just from what perspective? I'm not a victim, neither Sarah. I mean, victim is when we put ourselves there, and pity party, you know, we beyond that. And you are not a victim. We're not a victim. We have a choice that we're going to tell the story. And it come when you're ready. I think, you know, it took me that long because I wasn't ready to tell the story.
Yeah.
I wasn't at that place. So give yourself time, because when you're ready, you will have it. You are a perfect speaker and a perfect writer. It will take you no time to tell your story.
Thank
there.
you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I did feel that, yeah, like I did this to myself, and like I was, you know, I had a good life. I have a house in the island, and my husband's from Palawan. I married a fish. He has a house in the island. I have a house in the city. We had a good life. And I exchanged all of that, wrapped, you know, a few clothes, all of my makeup, a few clothes in our bag, and left, like briefly, because we got a ticket on a Wednesday. My mom and I, we were on the phone, and it was a December high peak. And we were just, you know, browsing. There's, you know, we wanted to do this. We have the visas. Everything's just like set on the side. There's really no rush. And then the ticket came. It was only $1,500 for all 5 of my family members. And we were like, we gotta buy this. The trick was, it was a Wednesday and the flight is on Sunday. And I still have a car to sell and like things to pack. And we just left our house like as if somebody robbed it. And we sold our car.
Courage. Oh my God, that's courage. And
we
I'm
sold
sure
our car.
Bigger vision than whatever you have in Philippines.
Yes, I mean, again, this opportunity to be here with you is like an exchange of that. Like that is what I get in return. I remember when we sold our car, we were being paid in cold cash. Like, no, I don't, like this is how abrupt.
I don't use this cash. Give me dollars, please.
That is how abrupt it was. But I knew in my gut that this is the right thing to do, that this is the break that I need to do. And it wasn't easy. None of it was. It's still not easy now. And I'm saying that I have the book in me because it feels so lonely making this choice, especially in, you know, with all that I can do and with all that I had. And so the hope for my book is for anyone who did the same choice as I did to feel not alone, like that it's okay to have grief in leaving your home country and living all of the people that you love and diving into the unknown. Like I didn't know what was
during COVID, you know, it's like
during
I'm crazy.
right before COVID. So yeah, so here we are, and there's so many technicalities. This is just a conversation that I was having with my son earlier today as we were walking around Paris. He's 11, and he said it's not easy for them too, because you have to learn the language. And I homeschooled them back in the Philippines. So for them to integrate back into school here in France, it's difficult because they were homeschooled. And he asked me, why did you choose France? Why not choose an English speaking country? Like, why not the United States or New York? He thought New York and the United States are totally separate countries. Or Canada, like other English speaking countries. And I said, this is where our God, the universe, the bigger power wants us to be in. We have a purpose to serve in here. We have a mission to do. And in the right time, we will be able to get out if this is not your place. But right now, this is our present, and this is where we need to serve. In the end, it's only been almost 3 years, but the transition that I've made, the good and the bad, the extremes, have been massive from the moment that I left the Philippines. So
yeah, here's a word of comfort to you. You have done, I think, probably half of it already. The journey is really tough. Doesn't matter if you migrate by choice or by natural disaster or anything. For me, I think the first decade, for people who do not speak English or the language they settle in to establish everything, I think the first 5 years to 7 years is the toughest of the transition. And hopefully, I think you're already a coach, you're already present online, you already have done so much. And I think, it just will get easier. But I think it is hard for kids, but kids like sponge. They absorb so much faster than we do. We have a tendency of worry about them. I think more or less for the social structure, but language and things, if they have the time to do it, I think they will surpass us way much quicker than we anticipated.
yeah.
I want to offer, first of all, the condolences about your mom. Second of all, I want to say that it's not easy. It doesn't matter how much you prepare for death, because you know that that's the final destination, that you totally part completely, that you will not be able to talk to each other, or it's a very tough. It doesn't matter how much you love or you don't love, people in your family. A loss is a loss, and I want to say that we are very sorry for your loss. And thirdly, I think that you've been doing wonderful, and you take that love and that compassion, instead of feeling pity party, you are giving out to people of color, women of color who have a very similar vulnerabilities and fears and things that they are not able to achieve, but you're there for them. So I want to say that you have done great stuff.
Thank you. Coaching saved my life. I was coaching even with COVID. I'm doing my Thursday Zoom rooms. I serve in our Radiant community as kind of a mentor somehow, and I have Zoom rooms every Thursdays, and I was like, I have COVID, but I'm okay. We're here. Let's coach.
Yeah, you inspire me. I want to do that too eventually, when I be able to carve out some time, but that was just really cool. Thank
you. But yeah, if anything, it's not just a business for me or like an online thing for me. I think it really is. I understand why they call it the calling. My way of service to my community, to my people, is something that no matter what my state is in life, the exact day my mom died, the exact day somebody was going through a breakdown and needed me as the coach. And I hopped on a call with them, and I was there present as the coach. For any coaches who are listening, this is absolutely not advisable, not a good advice, but I was called. It was way beyond me. It was way beyond my soul. and I hopped on the call. And at the end of that call, I felt so much better too. Like it's coach, I can't explain it, but like coaching, as the more with coaching, the more I give and serve, the more I receive. So it's my pleasure.
I think that a lot of time it's part of the healing journey for us ourselves, because we are able to get through what we've been through and take that and give it to the people who need it. So I think, sometimes we think we give, but actually we receive.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
fulfilling. So tell us a little bit more about how you launched your business. And I know that the business, the reason you're here because you want to talk about compassion and the feeling that you have for people who struggle. So tell us a little bit more about how do you help those women?
Yeah, so I started as my background really is as a business manager online. Um, for a long time, I started like as a project manager, team manager, business manager, and I help essentially e-commerce business owners, and then I shifted to coaches. And as I learned more about coaching, I said, oh, this, I remember there was a coach, this is a man. I was editing his videos for his social media. I'm adding captions to it. Apparently Otter and the other tools wasn't present yet. I was adding captions to his video, literally typing it. So I was listening to his message, and I'm so inspired by all the talk that he's doing. He's going around the states to talk and speak, and I'm like, this man is so inspiring, and he really was the first one who ignited that in me. I was editing his video and I was crying. I'm like, something's calling me to this. But I was super young back then, and I felt like I couldn't be a coach because I'm so young, but I have the heart to. So if, fast forward a little bit in my online business management business, I decided to offer consultations. And then I started talking to people, working with people one-on-one. And then I moved into business coaching, and I realized how much, compassion I have. I remember I have this conversation with my husband. My husband is exactly the opposite of me. I'm highly sensitive person. I'm an empath. He's not. He's very logical, very strategic, very rational. Yes. And I told him one time, maybe I met you as kind of my shield, my protection, because I'm overly compassionate. I have this man around our grocery store who would ask me for €1 for a coffee every single day, and I'd fall for it every single day. It just became a routine. And a lot of times it gets me in trouble because of my compassion, a lot of times when I'm in the streets. But like that, I feel like could be a gift and a curse at the same time. But when you are in the right place, where you're in the right when you're with the right group of people, it's mostly a gift, because that ability to feel, that ability to give love out of nothing, out of thin air, is amazing. Even if you're the one giving, even if you're the one being compassionate, and even if you're the one reaching out, even if you're the one like exerting all of this energy, like that is a gift to you if you're in the right place to do that. So and therefore that's how I got into coaching. I said I needed to be in the spaces more where I can serve the way that I want to serve, that I don't need to be cautious. I want to be able to get inside a safe space and be able to express my kindness and my compassion in my heart, and be able to give back to people, because that's my purpose. And during my COVID time, my COVID experience, what I realized is that I would think, I have this limiting belief in my head, I guess, that I would have to be like 60 years old, 70 years old before I would understand and know, this is my purpose. But when I had COVID, when I almost was dying, I realized that I already know my purpose. My purpose is to be a coach, and that would change. Like right now, this is what I do. I help business owners, I help women, but maybe next year I'm talking about DEI. Maybe next year I'm talking and helping other people. Maybe I'll be helping moms or artists, and it will change and shift. But it has, I don't know why I wasn't accepting it. Like I felt like, it's just something that I love to do.
Yeah.
But when I was almost dying, I said, I am a full-bodied coach. Like this is who I am, paid or not. And that is my purpose. So I wanted to be able to step into that. And like, you cannot unlearn being compassionate. There's no way. I tried. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn to be compassionate, but once you're there, I think that you pretty much see things in the other person's eyes and you just have it. Yeah, you can't unlearn it. Once you get it, you get it, right?
So I said, like coaching is the perfect place for me to be in.
So why did you niche yourself down to only color women?
Right. So let's add more details to that. My dream is to be able to work with people of color more than other people, more than other groups of people. But I do still work with other groups of people. If they want to work with me, they just have to realize that I use spicy words, if you'll have it that way. So if they're not comfortable with that, then they not, because I work with DEI every single day. BLM happened and I was born and raised in the Philippines, and I was just me. I was not a Filipina. I was not Asian. I was not brown. I was not a woman of color. I did not even know that term existed. But when BLM happened, I was shattered, and I don't understand why. Like what is happening? I was grieving for I don't understand why. And then I started to learn about racism and microaggressions and capitalism and white supremacy and all of this. And it felt the reveal was overwhelming to me. Like, oh my goodness, for the past 10 years, it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I'm stupid or that I'm ugly or that I have this accent or I have a black hair and not blonde. It wasn't because I have chinky Chinese looking eyes. It wasn't because all of that. It was because of them, of the white supremacy, of racism, that I had to work my ass 10 times harder than my counterpart who's not of the same ethnicity. Right. And that was overwhelming for me. And I felt like I want to put my knowledge, my time, my energy, my dedication, like all that I know, more to the BIPOC community. I want to be able to support that and up level because they have to work 10 times harder. Like, why not just have like one little tiny person like, okay, I'm going to help you lift up a little bit. This is how you create a website and get seen. And this is how you like unravel all of those beliefs that sometimes comes from ancestral healing, not even yours, or sometimes are conditioned into you growing up because you've tried so hard, especially if you grew up in the US, because you've been trying so hard to fit in and you never look like them. You've always felt short. You've always been measured with that same rule.
Short. I am short.
Yeah, we are short.
I mean that.
I know what you mean.
4'11" here, so.
Oh my goodness, my mother. I am fortunately 5'4", not that short, but not that tall either.
You're considering tall to us.
Lee and I, we are the same height.
But I really appreciate what you help women standing up, not just standing up for yourself, but you also help other women who felt lonely, who felt isolated, who felt like they didn't deserve it, you know, whatever entitled, or most of other entitled to. But this is wonderful to have a community that we supporting each other. And I think, you know, believe it or not, those confidence is not just going to come overnight. I have a boatload of community who supported me to make me feel like I'm worthy. I can believe in myself. A lot of time I didn't believe in myself. People told me that they believe in me first. And then, you know, it take me a long time to realize, if people believe in me, why didn't I believe in myself? So, I mean, those people will need you to believe in them for them to believe in themselves. So that is something that we all need to do. And I am signing on the coaching program and graduated in May also, because very similar mindset. I think that the book is great. I don't get to talk to them in person. The speaking is great. I get to see them in the room, but then they're going to go home. So the coaching is something that an impacting one-on-one or in a smaller session that you can actually impact directly to the people you want to impact. So I think, you know, I really appreciate what you do, not only for yourself, but for the community that you're trying to help.
Thank you. My hope is that, and like my goal really is, the reason that I focus on the BIPOC community is that those limiting beliefs to others do not apply to us. They're not limiting beliefs to us. These are, you know, preconceived notions that we were taught to believe in that doesn't apply to us. And my goal as a coach is to lead you back to who you truly are, and like, what are your own measures? For 11 measures, like I cannot like force you to think tall.
Right? Yeah. You know, it's like, but sometimes, you know, it took me a long time to realize that you don't have to be big to be big.
Right.
So I comfort myself that way many times. But so I know that we are toward the end and we're wrapping up. So what is the one most important thing that you would like to tell people, particularly women, color or non-color? What is the most single advice that you would like to give them, and how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So I will forget this, so I will say this first. That you will always be able to find me through my website, AntoinettePlacides.com, Instagram, Coach Unapologetic, and in my Facebook. Finally, you're gonna find me in Lee's friend list. I accept anybody who adds me up. And your other question was, what's the one thing that I want to share with everybody? With everything that I've been through in just the past couple months, I will say that it's very simple and sounds like cliche and something that you always see, but if you're gonna be kind to somebody, be kind to yourself the most, because today you may be strong and you feel worthy and beautiful and smart, but tomorrow is not promised. And I'm not trying to caution you, but it's just is. In a snap, things will change. And so to battle that, you have to give yourself grace every single day and just count every blessing. It sounds so cliche as I say this. Count every blessing every single day, because again, tomorrow is not promised. As what they say, you know, seize the day. And while you're doing that, give compassion and kindness to yourself. Like, if there's anything that you failed to do today, or like if you feel crappy today, forgive yourself over and over, so that people can learn to do that for themselves as well. If you do that for yourself, people kind of like you champion for other women too, to do that for themselves. Like, look at Lee, always so graceful and like always so kind and like glowing. Like, okay, I want to do that too. I'll be that as well. So yeah, be kind to yourself always.
That is beautiful. I mean, I think that is not a cliche thing, because doesn't matter how much we say that, you know, we are this and that, we're always the worst enemy of ourselves. Before we give it to somebody, we criticize ourselves first.
Yeah.
And yeah, I totally hear that, and I thank you for reminding me that, because yeah, some days I just gonna say, you know what, things can wait. Go pamper yourself, give yourself a nap, 15 minutes. That's all you need, right? You know, just be kind. Say something that you did a good job today. You know, just give a small gesture to somebody who needed for that day. And sometimes that day is you, the one who needed. So thank you so much for that advice. I think
My pleasure.
that is a beautiful way to conclude our conversation, unless Sarah have something else that she wanna talk about or wanna ask you.
I think the conversation is beautiful. I enjoy learning about your journey and how strong you are and how brave you are. You are brave. You should, should be proud of yourself. So
yeah, we all can make a choice. And my mantra is, I didn't miss a boat. I don't want anybody to miss a boat. And it's never too late. Just remember, it doesn't matter how old, how poor, how disadvantaged, how anything. It's never too late. When you want to make a choice, go ahead and choose and do it.
yeah.
So thank you.